Can you imagine dedicating your entire life to your country's biggest scientific dreams, only to wake up one day and be branded a traitor? Today, we're getting into the incredible, unbelievable story of Nambi Narayanan, a brilliant Indian space scientist whose life was completely turned upside down by a spy scandal that was not at all what it seemed. I mean, that's the real question here, isn't it? It gets right to the heart of this whole story, a story about ambition, conspiracy, and a fight for justice that took decades. So let's figure out how one of India's brightest minds was brought to his knees, and how he managed to fight his way back. So our story, it doesn't start in some pristine science lab. Nope. It starts with the shocking clang of a jail cell door, a moment that would completely derail a phenomenal career and, honestly, set India's space program back by years. Okay, let's set the scene. The date is November 30th, 1994. Nambi Narayanan, who is a senior official at the Indian Space Research Organization, that's ISRO, is arrested. And look, this wasn't just some minor arrest. This was a massive, high-profile case that was instantly all over the national news, turning a man at the very peak of his profession into public enemy number one, just like that. So what was the charge? Espionage. A huge one. They accused him of selling top-secret information, specifically the plans for India's precious rocket engines, to foreign agents. The implications were just enormous. It suggested a security breach that could threaten the entire nation. To really understand just how insane this accusation was, you have to understand who this man was. Nambi Narayanan wasn't just some engineer. He was a genuine pioneer. His whole world was liquid propulsion. Now, you can think of that as the really advanced engine tech you need to launch the bigger, more powerful satellites. It was the absolute key for India to even compete in the global space race, and Narayanan was the guy leading that charge, bringing all this rare, vital knowledge back with him from his time at Princeton. His resume? I mean, come on, it was impeccable. A degree from a top Indian engineering college, a master's from Princeton in the US, and then a quick rise through the ranks at ISRO to become the head of the super important cryogenics division. This is the profile of a patriot, not a spy selling secrets. So you'd think, with a man of this stature being accused, the investigation would have to be airtight, right? Well, very quickly, the entire official story just started to unravel. 50 days. Think about that. That's how long Narayan was locked up based on just those initial accusations. But behind the scenes, something truly brutal was happening. Narayanan says he was put through intense physical and mental torture. He claims the people questioning him didn't even want the truth. They just wanted him to lie and name his bosses at ISRO, as if they wanted to cripple the whole space program from the inside. He refused, and he paid a terrible price for it. And then, the first huge crack in the case. By April 1996, India's top investigative agency, the CBI, finished its own investigation. And its finding was a complete bombshell. The entire case was fake. There was zero evidence that any espionage ever happened. I mean, the gap between the accusation and the reality here is just mind-blowing. On one side, you have this scary story about state secrets being sold to spies, and on the other, you have the CBI's blunt conclusion. Not only was there no case, but the so-called evidence they had was forced out of people through torture. The entire scandal they found was a complete fabrication. So you'd think that's it, right? The CBI clears his name, case closed. But for Nambi Narayanan, the fight for his honor, it was just getting started. The legal battle that followed was just a slow, grinding marathon. It wasn't until 1998 that the Supreme Court officially threw out the charges. And get this, it took until 2018, a staggering 24 years after he was first arrested, for that same court to finally award him compensation, acknowledging the immense mental cruelty he'd been put through. So after all those years, decades, living under this dark cloud of suspicion, we finally get to the last chapter of this story. And it's one of total and complete vindication. His name was finally cleared. His integrity was restored, and the government was at last forced to admit what a profound injustice had been done to him. And that admission came with some significant financial compensation, first from the Supreme Court, and then an even larger amount from the Kerala state government. Yeah, the very same authority whose police force had arrested and tortured him all those years ago. But then came the ultimate symbol of his restoration. In 2019, Nambi Narayanan was given the Padma Bhushan, which is India's third highest honor for civilian. The man once called a traitor was now officially being celebrated as a national hero. The turnaround was absolute. And his fight for justice is now pretty much etched into public memory, thanks in large part to the amazing film Rocketry, which even won a prestigious National Film Award. His story isn't just a legal case anymore. It's become this powerful tale of resilience. So Nambi Narayanan won his battle. He got the awards, the compensation, the public apologies. He got his name back. But it leaves you with this one lingering question. Can you ever really get back the years you lost? Can you ever fully wash away the stain of an accusation that was so devastating? It's a really powerful thought to end on.